All right, want to rock and roll?
Yeah. Guys, first of all, welcome to the presentation. We're going to be talking about the methods and habits of successful entrepreneurs, but more broadly, what I'm talking about here, what we wanted to cover in this presentation really is to just talk to you guys, person to person about some of the things that we see successful people do, some of the tried and true ways of approaching problems that successful people employ. What are they doing differently than the people who are struggling? And how to avoid all that and how to apply it, right? The most important thing is that whatever we're talking about, it has to be applicable to your business. So without further ado, we'll get started here. And, the first thing is, what differentiates those who succeed from fail, right? What is that differentiating factor? Well, people oftentimes they look at the beginning orientation of the person, right? They look at a business as, well, this person started with X amount of money and they started with X, Y, and Z advantages. So of course they succeeded. And then somebody else who didn't succeed, they say, well, they didn't have that, so they failed. But the truth is it's a lot more nuanced and complicated than that. Basically, when you look at successful entrepreneurs, they fail over and over again. They succeed because they every day overcome their disadvantages. Most people you see that are successful, it boils down to a mixture of self-discipline, confidence, and overall just getting up every day and approaching and attacking the problem. So what are we talking about in terms of some of the things that we see in successful people? And I'm just going to go through these bullet points. And Mike, feel free to weigh in here at any time. I'd say number one most important aspect or attribute or trait of people who are successful is that they're very hardworking and motivated, but they're hardworking and motivated in the context of working for themselves. They put themselves and their business at the center of their world. They don't put an employer, they don't put somebody else at the center. They were working for themselves. Being hardworking, a lot of people are hardworking, but you have to be hardworking for yourself and you have to be motivated. And a big part of that motivation, and all of these points are interconnected, is being self-determined and self-governing. When I think about people I've seen that succeeded through the years, and I don't mean people who succeeded like the people who won the lotto, the one-offs. I mean average, everyday business people who run everything from hot dog stands to big businesses. When we look at them and you look at why they succeed, a big part of that is the self-determination factor. It's being able to make your own judgments, being able to look at the pieces in the puzzle, the equation in business that you've put together for yourself every day to solve, and saying to myself, well, how can I, what moves should I make today? The people that are looking for somebody else to be their brain, in essence, they're people who struggle because in any given instance, they're not really in control. To be in control means to be self-determining, to be self-governing, to not have anyone else that you need to get the okay from or get approval from in order to function as a business person. That's a huge, huge thing that when you look at successful people, they're almost 100% of them are this way. And when you look at people who fail or struggle, they're not. They're the people that are looking for, the magic bullet. They're looking for somebody else to replace what's lacking. Open-mindedness, being conscientious, being cognizant, self-aware, and confident. I kind of link all four of those together in one thing in my mind, which is that the people that you meet who are self-aware, aware of their own faults, and we're aware of their strengths and aware of their weaknesses, they can be confident. You can be confident and have things that are dysfunctional about yourself, in a sense, right? Nobody is a perfect person. Nobody has a perfect memory. We all set ourselves up, right? To function in business, to overcome our own limitations that are inherent in ourselves. I am a terribly disorganized person. I mean, Michael, I am so disorganized that I have to have systems govern everything for me, right? I have to have systems in place to handle everything from remembering people's names to, organizing my email and a lot of different things. But I'm aware enough of my own faults to know that I cannot count on myself to succeed if I just rely on my memory to do a lot of these things. I learned long ago that if I'm going to be successful, I'm going to structure myself not in line with, some sort of marketing dynamic that's been, shown to me or something like that. I'm not going to copy somebody else. I'm going to self-govern and I'm going to be self-determined. And I made the determination that I have some weaknesses. So I build up systems around them to offset that, right? Because I'm self-aware of my weaknesses and my limitations. Then I can be confident because I know my limitations and I know how to isolate that stuff. A lot of people who fail go into denial about their weaknesses. They're not self-aware. They don't realize, hey, man, you're not doing so good in this area, this XYZ area at your business. Maybe you're bad at organization, or you're naturally disinclined to, rejection. So you don't make a lot of phone calls, or maybe it's, you should be going out there and knocking doors and talking to business owners, but you don't do that because you realize that's, you feel that that's something that, you're bad at. You can work on any problem as long as you admit it exists. I tell people, and I say this many, many times, everyone starts off ignorant. Only stupid people stay ignorant. Right? Stupid people are people who will not learn, who cannot make changes, who cannot see things for as they are and reflect and respond in a cogent, intelligent manner to their own realities. Discipline is something that matters a hell of a lot. I mean, discipline is it is central to life, right? Your successful people are usually pretty disciplined. Does that mean that they work, 24/7? They put in 80-hour weeks back to back to back? Well, sometimes it does. But a lot of the time what discipline, means, it takes on many various forms. Part of discipline is saying to yourself, this week, I'm going to hold myself accountable for making 200 phone calls. And if I don't do it, I'm going to hold myself to account. I don't need a boss telling me what to do because I know what I need to do. And I'm enough of an adult to have the discipline to carry it out. I think in business, one of the most important things is to do what you say you're going to do. People will not respect you if you're just a talker. You have to get behind your ideas, and you are the engine that propels them into reality. So you have an idea for an agency. A lot of you guys have an idea for a big agency in the back of your heads, and I do too, right? I've had dreams my whole life. But the difference is if you don't take that dream and make it real by working every day towards it, it's never going to happen. All right. The only thing that happens when you sleep are dreams. You don't make money that way. So very, very important. And the last thing here is actually what I believe is the most important element of all entrepreneurs. And that is that you have got to develop or cultivate in yourself a curious and inquisitive nature, meaning you have to be willing to learn about things. You have to be willing. You hear things. Does it go in one ear out the other? Or do you hear things and it spawns interest in you? Right. I wouldn't do what I do if I didn't find it interesting, right? Eventually, if we find something boring, we don't like what we're selling, we're not interested in the industry we're in, eventually you're going to depart from it, right? That's just human nature. Given enough time, we can force ourselves to do almost anything for a short period of time. We can force ourselves to do a lot of things for a moderate amount of time, but in the long term, we only do things we truly enjoy doing. You need to have a curious and inquisitive nature about yourself if you're going to succeed as an entrepreneur. And that curiousness, where does that come from inside yourself? How do you cultivate curiosity? I've heard people through the years say, you can't cultivate curiosity. You can't do that. But the truth is you can. You can cultivate curiosity in yourself. And you do that by forcing yourself, in many cases, to learn about what it is you're doing. I don't know how many people on this call are familiar with this. There's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. How many people on this call have heard of that before? If you have, you can punch it in the chat. I'm just curious. The Dunning-Kruger effect is basically the effect that the less we know about something, the more confident we are that it's simple, right? It's essentially what it means. Like the less competent we are at something, the more competent we believe we are. So inversely, the people who are the worst at dancing think they're the best at dancing. And the people that are the best, they think they're the worst because they know so much about it that they understand their own limitations. Life is like this, but so is business in a huge, huge way. The Dunning-Kruger effect is something that I believe works against curiosity. If you're not curious, if you're not going to, to learn and educate yourself about things, and I mean by yourself with nobody over your shoulder telling you what to study, nobody forcing your hand. If you're not curious and you don't cultivate that, you're not going to ever be a true master of your craft. And that's a phrase that you guys have heard me say in countless videos, and I've said it in real life probably 10 times as much, which is you have to be a student of your craft, always learning. I've been in this industry since I was a little kid, really, since I was 12 years old. I was on computers when I was even younger than that by several years. And even today, I know what I don't know, which is a hell of a lot more than I know. This is a vast, vast industry with many, many, many different verticals that go infinitely deep, right? We're talking on IT writ large and specifically marketing. When you look at, the people that are studying this thing, or when you look at how complicated things get over time in the industry, you're never going to learn everything. But you can learn enough to be dangerous, and you can learn enough that you can converse intelligently with other people on the topics that we cover here. Let me go ahead here in the slides. Here's some key points that I wanted to cover today as well. First one is that success isn't an orphan, right? It's not luck. It's not something that just randomly pops out of nowhere. Sometimes it is. I'll be honest with you guys. Sometimes it is. If you owned some real estate in California a few years before the gold rush, or if you happen to have a friend that transferred you a whole bunch of Bitcoin in 2005 and you threw the computer in the corner and forgot about it, you might get lucky in life, but the odds are heavily stacked against it. Most success is something that is engineered by the successful, and it's engineered every single day. Success, I like to say, is made of many bricks. It's not a solid block. Every single day, you're going to put pieces in place. You're going to make phone calls, make connections to people, reach out, make friends, learn about your product. Every day, you are building your business brick by brick into what it's going to become. Reality itself, life itself, is something like this, right? If you look at anybody on this phone call, myself included, we look at our current life, it's a pile of consequences of choices we made and actions we took yesterday. Right? What we do today only affects tomorrow. So the question becomes, are you working towards success? Are you actively pursuing it? Are you making enough phone calls? Do you have enough leads in your pipeline? Are you selling enough? Are you taking the money from the sales and investing it wisely? I know a lot of people, I've known in my life countless salespeople that were absolutely off the rails talented, but they failed in general because they succeeded to make sales, but the money went right through their fingers. Business is complicated. Business has many attributes. Taking money and reinvesting it in your business. Those of you who are on this call who have hundreds and hundreds of clients, the people out there that are selling like crazy, look at your business three-dimensionally, right? Look at it from all angles. The more you can consolidate your local market, the more you can consolidate your vertical market, the better off you're going to be long-term. Success is also a measure of stability, right? When we look at successful agencies, they're very rock stable. They have a stable base of clients. They make sales to those clients. The dollar valuation of each client individually goes up and up and up over the years because of inflation and whatnot. And clients can stick with you for a very long time. What you do follows what you think, right? If you are sitting there, looking at everything and you're not taking actions, or you're reactive to the circumstances you find yourself in, you're probably not going to be successful. You have to be proactive. You have to take the steps. No one can take them for you, right? No amount of training or listening to me talk or Mike or anybody talk is ever going to replace experience. I firmly believe that. I don't think the best teacher in the world is worth 1/10 what experience is worth. Getting out there and actually pitching people. Guys, I can't tell you the times I've been cursed out and thrown out of houses and, chased off lawns and everything else earlier in my career. How much that taught me, just dealing with people up close and personal, knocking doors, engaging with people and making sales in that manner and learning that in that visceral way, in that reality of, that jungle that is life, learning in that way is incredibly beneficial. And I encourage every person, and you guys know that, Mike knows that, I encourage everybody to go out there and, work in this way. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who do you surround yourself with? I've always loved that Arnold Schwarzenegger quote, which is that if you hang with cripples, you'll learn to limp. And if you hang with eagles, you'll learn to fly, right? It's that simple. I believe that there's a lot of truth to that. I believe that who you surround yourself with, it isn't just people, it's media, it's entertainment, and it's art, and it's everything. Everything you surround your brain with has an influence upon you. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you working actively to cultivate a network of professionals that you can leverage and utilize to get your marketing messages out, to hand you business, to give business to. It works both ways, right? So, that's something you need to actively pursue as well, is to surround yourself with, good, solid people that can help you. And I think you're in a great place here. Tom's great. Everybody here is fantastic. But you should be doing that in real life as well. You should be surrounding yourself. Join the local chamber of commerce if you'd like, or don't. But either way, so think of who you surround yourself with. Think of the information you consume. We have many fantastic resources and links to different, authoritative sources when it comes to internet marketing materials and education of that kind. Look at that as, part of what you're digesting every day is all the information you're putting in yourself, and it's going to come back out of you in the form of confidence with your clients. Now, not all industries are the same. Not all businesses are identical. A lot of things are nuanced, right, about our industry, but they're all fantastic things. And I always say this, and it's kind of something that I love throwing out there because it's so true. And that's that we have the wind at our back right now. Now is a great time to get out there and sell. We have an entire economy that's increasingly dependent upon our services. We have businesses, local IT agencies, small agencies that had website clients. The technologies are aging. The sites are aging. There's a certain cyclical nature to site development. Every new sort of generation of internet technology, all the old websites go away and all the businesses need new ones. We're in the midst of that right now, where the whole economy is rebooting out of the COVID, episode that we were going through. And we're heading into an era where it's going to be much, much more a way of life to utilize things that were already coming on before COVID, the app-driven nature, the mobile-driven nature. We've been talking about the mobile revolution, which has just been growing and growing and growing over the last decade. Well, it's really taking off right now, and it's solidifying and crystallizing into something great. We're poised to make that happen, to make it happen for ourselves, to get out there and to sell going into all of this. So when you take a look at where we're at and you look at things relatively speaking, you're in an extremely hot industry that has a lot of demand, and that'll translate many different advantages for you. It's not just that people will listen to you and buy your services. It's also that entrepreneurs and business people will want to engage with you because you're in an industry that's hot and up and coming, right? You guys are in a business that a lot of people wish they were in. A lot of people are out there already entrenched in businesses. They can't make a change. That would love to be doing what you're doing. That's my basic point here, though, is that understand the things that I talk about when I say, oh, you're going to have to work hard at this or work hard at that. Relatively speaking, this industry is easy. This is, consultative sales. It's not one call close. The way that we sell doesn't rely upon financing. It doesn't rely upon, tremendous outside forces or outside pressures and the vagaries of the market. It's very much, direct to market, direct sales, and it's simple. Planning. Something that I've said, and I've been doing training here. I mean, Tom, you can tell me, or Mike, if Mike's there. You can tell me how long have we been discussing planning? Planning has been something that I believe. Oh
my God! I mean,
years.
We've been, everything we do, you have to plan. You can't just go off the cuff, and when we first started the business, it was just infrastructure took us, and this was back in 2010. Probably took us about 8 or 9 months. Probably, 8 to 12 months just to build out the infrastructure. And at that point, the business was a lot simpler than it is today, right? Back then, it was all about mobile websites as a separate website to the actual website that you had. So we were like a white label mobile website company. And, again, back then it was complicated. Obviously now it's, forget it. It's to us, it's nothing. Right. But the planning, that we put into this was just incredible. The hard work and that's really what it takes. You just have to really make sure that you have your everything etched in stone, and kind of, be organized and plan yourself out before you do anything. Because if you follow a plan, yes, it's going to change. It's never going to be as you've planned it, right? It's like a roadmap. You're going to go down that road, and they're going to be, exits. You're going to take off. You're going to get off, and you're going to come back on the road, and that's really how it is. But everything that we do has a lot of thought to it. Just we bring in a lot of different. A lot of experts, in from all walks of life. We want to hear what they have to say. We might not agree with the ideas or the information that they provide us, but at least we put that in our back pocket. We might use that, a different day, but it's all about, kind of like kicking the ideas around different people, working hard and then executing, right? And that's really the key. You can't overthink it. Yes, you can plan, but you can't sit there and just overthink and overthink and overthink and overthink.
It's not about thinking, right?
Yeah,
Planning, guys.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
going to have to, whatever the plans we ever developed, they all change. They always change every single time, because when you go out there, the best laid plans of mice and men are, go awry in the real world every single day. But when you're in this industry, planning ahead, right? It's something that you're going to do in a multitude of ways, but it's something that there are no rules governing it, right? Some of you are going to set up companies. What I mean by that, no rules, is some of you are going to set up companies where you focus on education as a vertical, and you go after that and sell exclusively to schools, and that's what you do. Others will sell exclusively to doctors. Many of you will sell to anybody who you can, and you'll go out and you'll have entirely different plans of ingress into those vertical markets. Maybe you're in a past career, you were a school teacher. So that's a market you can go after because you have a contact list a mile deep to go after that market. Others may look at that market and say, well, that's, difficult to get into. Maybe it is difficult for you, but it's easy for someone else. Plans are idiosyncratic and specific to every individual's circumstance. The markets vary tremendously as well. If you're selling in Austin, Texas, that's a far cry and a very different situation than for those of you who are selling in Ontario, Canada, or someone selling in New York City, or somebody selling in Miami. They're different markets, and you're going to come after the market in a different way. Now, I've done a presentation in the past. There's one where it's called the snowball effect, right? Just about every agency I've ever seen, given enough time, specializes in one or more verticals. And there's a really logical reason for this, because you start selling, most of us start up, we sell anybody, right? Most businesses, most people who have agencies will sell anybody, and they'll go out there, they'll have either some salespeople for them, or maybe they'll sell just themselves. They'll land their first 10, 20 clients, but at some point, maybe 30, 40 clients deep, or maybe it's quicker, you're going to realize, hey, 6 of my clients or 8 of my clients, or maybe it's 25% or 50% are all lawyers or all doctors or all one vertical, right? And that often acts as a lodestar, right? Something to follow that's going to make it easier and easier to sell more and more of that type of business. When you go into a law office and say, hey, I've got as a client, and you're going through a list of all the attorneys you have, well, it's easy to sell another attorney. You'll find yourself specializing without even trying to do it. It's important that you're cognizant of this, aware that this is going on, because it's something that you can either speed up or slow down. And I've never met anybody who said, I don't want the money from this vertical. Just about all of you will speed it up and go in that direction more strongly. It's important that you identify this right away, and that you change and adapt in terms of your plans to go after that market more and more. So my point is, when it comes to planning your agency out, it's not in your best interest usually to have a big, really written in stone plan to work against. It's smarter to have a plan that's realistic, adaptable, but a plan knowing that your plans will change over time. What's important about a plan is it gives you a logical structure to apply to your daily grind, right? There's a plan here. I'm going to market for 20 hours this week. I'm going to cold call for 10 hours. And I'm going to do, you have your tasks lined up, right? Your own bullet points of what you're going to get done in that given week. That's part of planning. Making time to do your demos, scheduling, all these things are part of it. And it's important that you stay loose and flexible as you plan, but plan to give yourself a structure. One of the worst things you can do, and I've seen this happen with people through the years, you'll have, people who don't plan, right? Who just leave it to chance. They don't have a plan really. And they tend to just sit there and not know what to do because they don't have any plans. It's like, okay, I'm at work today, and they sit at their computer and they haven't premeditated anything they're going to do, right? So what do they end up doing? Well, maybe make a few phone calls, go make a sandwich, sit down, not self-actualize. Having a plan is an easy way to turn your brain off and just work, right? Because I know that I have to do this for this amount of time. In a sense, it's like the plan becomes your own boss, right? Your boss is your plan instead of a person. I find they're very, very important. And me and Tom, we have planned together. We've go through very, very detailed plans, but we were always flexible because we had to be. You have to be in business. You can't apply your feelings to reality. Reality applies itself to all of our feelings, right? We have to deal with it the way it comes, and it's served. Now, it's worth noting here a little bit about our market, and I use this just as example. This isn't like some figure here, but I wanted to say the typical way that it works is people go from crawling, walking to running at light speed very quickly. When you land one client, it's easy to land your next client. When you land two, it's easy to land three. People tend to ramp up rather quickly when they get the hang of things. It can seem like it's going to take me forever. If you make one sale and it's your first sale, you may go through the process and say to yourself at the end, wow, that was, it's probably you're going to say it's a hell of a lot easier than you thought it would be because it's not very complicated at all. However, you may say to yourself, well, I spent X amount of time marketing and I got a sale for my time. It's important to understand everything is about multiplying your efforts, right? It's about getting sales to come in the door and then multiplying them. It's about taking the clients you have and turning them into the referrals that you don't have so that you can go and ramp yourself up quickly. And it's very easy right now because we're in this gigantic growing market with, a very stable we've turned from something that was cool to something that's crucial. And that's really the big change, Tom. You guys remember a time when I was standing in New York and I was waiting to get my first iPhone, right? It was that Silverback. And I got it. And I remember showing it to just some of my friends. I was at a marketing agency then, and they looked at it and people were like, this is cool, but it's a toy. And, because it only had web apps and things like that. But we could see that it had a future because it was going to eventually be crucial. We're there now where all these technologies, the app reservation, for everything from app reservation systems to the phones to the mobile web, all this stuff now is crucial. It's critical infrastructure now for businesses. So we have this very stable and reliable market that's formed around our technologies. Initially, these were things that we spoke of, and it would be cool if my website did this, and it would be cool if it did that, and it would be, now it has to do this, it has to do that, because as a percentage of a pie graph, the internet is now becoming something that at the very granular local level is the primary driver for almost all sales. And when you look at even restaurants, businesses that traditionally were much more disconnected from the internet, they're now mainly being driven by net sales. Businesses all over the place where I am are, going ahead and they're switching to online ordering systems because of COVID-19. And they're functioning very differently than they did in the past, but they're functioning better than ever. And all of it helps us. All of it helps us to succeed because they're all moves and changes that benefit us in our industry. What's going to happen in the industry long term, right? We're very recession resistant. We know this because we've been through the 07, 08, era. We all went through it together. It was something that we saw, something that we rebounded from, but it was something that what happened is kind of what's happening now, where the market dynamics change, but our market dynamics go up. They benefit us because the businesses that tend to not do so well in the recessions in our industry, and I mean the boutique agencies, the agencies that have five or 10 clients, small agencies, small numbers of clients that they're gouging for huge amounts of profit because they have to, those kind of agencies tend to do bad. Those kind of clients tend to go up and on the market during recessions, right? The clients that had a $12 or $14,000 a month SEO budget, the ones that have, you know, 5, 10, 20,000 a month in internet marketing expenses. Those businesses, those clients are the first ones to cut their agency and to go and look for somebody else. When if and when things head into a recession, don't be afraid to go after all the existing clients in your area that you don't think you could sell, because it'll be right then that you will make these sales. And I promise you they're out there, and I promise you they're going to be cutting the small agencies like that. And I don't mean you guys. You guys have us as your backstop. You have costs that you can control. Most of these agencies, the little ones I'm talking about, the boutique ones, they have out of control costs because they actually employ small staffs to do all the work that we do centrally for all you guys. Okay. So they have very, very, very high expenses. That's why they can only handle a small amount of clients, and they're handling it in a boutique manner. That part of the market is going to go away. Those people, those agencies are going to go one of two directions, either out of business, or they're going to even further centralize around a smaller group of clients. Happened before, will happen again.
Hey, Jake, can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Jake's making a great point about our industry. This industry will never die. There's no way, right? There's so much complexity out there right now for these businesses. And we talked about this a few weeks ago, and I always talk about this. What happened during COVID with Rocket Driver and most of the agencies that were with us, I would say most of them, we doubled our income during COVID. And the last quarter, we tripled our income. Just to give you an idea, COVID was amazing. Why? Because we set up our partners correctly, right? We educated them. We gave them tools for them to go out there and help out these businesses, turn these businesses into e-commerce, get them, to change their business model, right? That they had, which was archaic, right? And they succeeded, right? Not only did the agencies make a lot of money, but we kept these businesses from going, under. And just again, amazing. And going back to our industry, think about it. Every business that's out there, they have no idea that there are hundreds of updates with Google and their search rankings. They have no idea about the modern customer journey, the funnels that these customers go down. They have no idea about what's going on in social. They're, and again, it's not really their fault, right? Because they're into their business, right? They know their businesses pretty much. I would say most entrepreneurs or business people in these companies, they actually know their businesses inside and out, but they really have no idea of, how to market themselves, how to drive traffic, websites, how to have a great website and how to make that website convert. And they don't know anything, how they stack up against the competition, right? They don't know anything about, about that. And it's really where we come in. And that's why this business, it has stood the test of time, no matter how many recessions we go through, or any type of pandemics, we are just not going to die because technology doesn't die, right? Think about it. Google is still here, Facebook, right? All these social media channels, there are more coming out constantly. Smartphones aren't going anywhere, right? So if the technology is not going anywhere, then obviously the industry won't go anywhere. We are in the best industry on the planet. And it's a feel-good industry. I always tell everyone this. You're doing something here that's really awesome. You're educating a business owner on their online presence, how they can bring in more, more business, how they can, take that big piece of that huge piece of pie, right? That big slice out there from the competition by having us on their team, right? And this goes for every, partner of ours that's on this call and that's in the company. I'll watch this later. You guys have a huge company behind you, and you don't have that, you don't have in-house employees, right? That you need to pay $100,000 a year to do, social media, $100,000 a year to do SEO, things like that. You don't have that. And that's why Jake made such a great point that these businesses are these agencies that do have in-house people, they are dying because the deal is this: they've hired all these people, right? They have to charge an incredible amount of money, right, to keep their lights on because of the fat that they have, right? All of that, all of those employees, and what happens is they price themselves basically out of the market. And Jake said they're the ones that are up for grabs because they're overcharging. Because in this industry, there is no average price, right? You charge what you really want to charge, right? It's not because you're better. It's because you have to look at your overhead. I have to crack a nut every month and this is what I have to pay every single month. So I need to charge, $10,000 for a website. Does it mean that it's a better website? No, but that's what I need to charge to survive, right? To eat every single day. Exactly. Inertia. So anyway, I just wanted to make that clear to all of you that, you guys are highly intelligent people. The partners that we have are amazing. You guys are in a great industry and you really need to take advantage of what you have, the training, the support, all the tools that we provide you guys with, the market that's out there. That's amazing. And not, think of it as sales, and think that, I have to be this crazy closer. No, it's all about just being yourself, right? Just, being positive. People love, talking to positive people that are high energy, that are just, just happy, right? And that is contagious. And that's really what this is all about. It's all about your personality and getting in front of people and saying, hey, I just want to help you out. That's what my job is. It's what we do here for a living. We want to help take your business to the next level. We want to help you crush the competition. We want to help you bring in more traffic, bring in more sales, bring in more money. And who doesn't want that, folks? Who doesn't want to have a killer online presence with tons of traffic coming in, making more money? I don't care what business it is. There's no such thing as a company that'll say to you. I mean, you might have some crazy people say, "Hey, you know what? I'm fine. I don't need any more money. I can't handle it." Which, okay, that's their fault because they hit critical mass, right? But I would say 99.9% of all the businesses out there, everyone wants to make more money, and that's the power that all of you have, is that you have these core foundational services that every business needs and they can't live without. And I said my piece. Yeah, Jake, take it over, buddy.
Oh, no, I think the one thing to keep in mind, guys, is inertia is a big component of why businesses, the boutique agencies that you guys see out there. Through the years, I couldn't count the number of clients that came through on our end that previous to our partner selling them, had been with a boutique agency, and our partner went in and said, "Hey, what are you spending per month?" And they said something like, about 15,000. And then they take a look at what's going on at that company, what they're getting for their money, and it's nothing, right? It's like garbage. It happens all the time, right? Happens all the time. A company, say it's a plastic surgeon, just as example, guys. You'll have a plastic surgeon that signs up with a boutique agency promising them that they're going to dominate their market. Let's say that it's Palm Beach, right? And that's a great market, or Los Angeles. They'll be in that market selling their plastic surgery, not paying any attention whether their SEO is doing anything for them or not. And the boutique agencies every month bills them, and they pay it every month. And at the end of the year, they look at it like, well, it's a big expense, but it's a tax write-off. So who cares? It's to market my website. The problem is they're not getting any benefit for it. The boutique agency is really, I'm not saying they're ripping them off, but they're ripping them off because they're paying a fortune and not getting a benefit for it. Those agencies cannot afford to scale down. This is so important that you guys understand this. For the same amount of money, right? Let's say that we go dollars to donuts, that money coming to us or that money going to that boutique agency, with our partner making a ton of money in between, on our end at least. We're offering them so much more with our services because the money's going directly to there's no massive, ridiculous overhead that's just sucking away all the money, and it's being burnt off in payroll at an inertia-driven agency that can't scale down. That is the way it works a lot. Also, technologies age, guys, right? Websites age. They get old. You can have a website that's, studiously handled, judiciously upgraded, properly secured. And yeah, it can be pretty old and still be online, but websites age, and so do methodologies of search engine optimization. What worked 10 years ago doesn't work today. But tell me, what incentive does a boutique agency have to stay up to speed? A lot of them don't have any incentive because their clients are like, their clients aren't paying any attention. They have no pressure on them to stay relevant. So they're still operating on obsolete paradigms. So Google comes along and they change the rules, right? They do it all the time. And guys, believe me, we're like constantly, our people are constantly in class re-educating because these updates are coming so hard and so fast and changing things so rapidly with how sites must be built and structured and how campaigns are fielded. If we struggle to stay up to speed and we're running a centralized, large white label operation, what then are those boutique agencies that have like 1/50th of our resources doing? They're not doing anything. They literally cannot cope with the changes happening when they have, say, 5 or 10 clients, and all at once, all those clients need the campaigns completely changed. They can't and they won't do it. So what I'm saying, big picture here, is those people are ripe to go in and poach their clients. Because you can prove to them and show to them, hey, you're not getting any benefit and you're spending as much as an Aston Martin payment, a fleet of Aston Martin payments, and you're not getting any benefit for it. You can come in and say, you know what I'm going to do for you? In many cases, you could tell them, I'm going to cut your bill by 50%, right? And then I'm going to double, you're going to get 200% the services for 50% the money for starters. And also it's going to be effective. And the stuff that you had in the past wasn't. When it comes to things like SEO, a lot of the high-end services, this is the case. This is the reality. And if you go back in time and if you know the history of the tech sector, this has happened again and again and again. It's a pattern that repeats itself through almost all technologically sophisticated products. Market inertia is a major driver of obsolescence because businesses do not have any pressure on them to provide more for their clients. We can take advantage of that. You can take advantage of that building your agency. You can go out there and you can absolutely poach clients showcasing that they have obsolete sites, unsecured sites, poor plugin selection, bad SEO, horrible mobile experiences, no local business listings, on and on and on. It's endless. You don't need a big, marketing agency to show you guys either. You can sit at your computer and take about 5 minutes, go and browse the website of prospective clients that are local to you. You can find out who is being served what, how are these businesses doing? And I think if I asked all of you guys, the local businesses in your area that have the money to buy your services. You know who the plastic surgeons are, you know who the dentists are, you know who the doctors are, the lawyers, and all the professional services businesses in your areas. When you take a look at their sites, who's obsolete and who's not. Every one of us has the ultimate judgment call right in our pocket, right? Smartphones, tablets, computers. Go and look and load that website on all three. Take a look at the experience and be critical about it. Analyze it. All of you can be students of your craft. Every single person on this call is capable of doing consultative sales. And as long as you have a working brain, and I know you do because you wouldn't be here, you can learn this stuff. Anyone can learn this stuff. Anybody can learn to listen to other people and apply services to those unique problems that they have. And with that, let me see here. I think I have one more slide. Some practical steps that we can go over. I think we gave you guys a lot of practical steps. The most practical thing I can tell you guys to do is really to look at everything and question it. Look at everything and question it. Question what I'm saying. See if what I tell you is BS or not. See if everything you're being told. Be critical of everything. Use your brain. Use your own intelligence. Analyze things. Look at end results, right? Take a look and look at things in terms of what the end results are that you're getting. What are clients being served? What are your competitors doing locally that, maybe you want to emulate, but a lot of what they're doing, you don't want to emulate too. So look at everything critically, be a student of your craft, educate yourself, develop a plan, and hold yourself accountable. Nobody is ever going to be able to motivate you for you, right? Only you can do that. Only you can go out there and tell yourself every day that you have to throw one foot in front of the other, get yourself out of bed, and go out there and succeed. And really, that's it. That's what this is all about. This is all about, successful people are people that are self-motivated, inquisitive, self-disciplined. They're all very much alike, actually. If I had to characterize the business people I knew throughout my life, both clients and peers that were successful, they all followed the same basic blueprint. They set their egos aside, they put their nose to the grindstone, they worked hard, and they built their businesses step by step by taking on all the individual problems that business people need to solve every day. And that's across all industries, and that's across all nations on earth and everybody that I've encountered in my life. Successful people are hardworking, intelligent people. They do hard work and they get rewards for it. Now, let's see here. I think we have our last step.
You don't give up. That's the key. We're not quitters. Right.
There you go.
An entrepreneur is not a quitter. That's really what it comes down to. Like, there's no such thing as an easy business, and like Jake said earlier, this is the beginning of the meeting. Some people are just lucky, right? And whatever, and it's kind of like winning the lottery, really. Right? How many people do you know have won the lottery? And there's some people that make a lot of money in the industry. It's kind of like winning the lottery. It's like being a movie star. It's like being, well, I can't say athletes have to work their butts off, but still they have to have great agencies. They have to be at the right place at the right time. How many great athletes are out there? Musicians, all these people that are just so amazing that really never had a chance. Right. But the point I'm saying is that, entrepreneurs, successful business people, we're all the same. We work our tails off. We believe in ourselves. We believe in what we do. We have passion. We have attitude. We have confidence. It's just being, it's that the key ingredients, right? To just being successful and never giving up, because you know what? We have bad days here too. It's like, we're not like, you think that, we're not perfect, and I have bad days. I have most of my days are amazing, but yeah, there are days that I have bad days, right? Some days, like, everything just goes wrong and you're like, oh my gosh. And you're pulling your hair out of your head and you're like, gosh, man, this is really, really tough. But I don't sit there and like, man, I can't believe it. And I start feeling sorry for myself. No way, man. You pick yourself back up, and it's like, you got to dig deep, and some days you're like, man, I got to really push. I got to find, I got to find something extra in me. So I have to pull something out of me, to go just not even go the extra mile, but just to get through that actual project or the day or whatever it is that we're doing. You got to dig deep and really pull that out of you, because like I said, every day is not going to be, Disney World out there for us, especially we're all entrepreneurs and running our businesses. But it's all about never quitting, because the quitters are the ones that really will never make it, right? It's like a lot of, we don't have any partners like that. Back in the day, we used to have a lot of people that were just coming in and say, hey, you know what? How quickly can I make money? Is this something easy to sell? Like, they just wanted something where they, like, looking for a get rich quick scheme is basically what they were looking for. We don't get those anymore. That was a long time ago in the beginning, And I used to always say in the beginning of Rocket Driver, I used to be like, listen, you're going to have to work really, really hard, and it wasn't even about us bringing on a partner. I rather not have a partner like that, because I know it's just going to be a pain in the butt. They're not going to work. They're going to expect,
they're not profitable either.
Miracles, to happen, and without any effort whatsoever. I love the people that are excited, that work really hard, that come to us and, are just, like I said, they take it to the next level. And that's really what you need to be, in this business. You just need to have that tenacity and that passion and that attitude, and you can just never give up. And that's how you'll make it. That's it. If you're hitting roadblocks, if you're not making any money, if if there are issues with what's going on in your business right now, we always say to everyone, hey man, come to us, tell us what's going on. And I had plenty of agencies that came that would, say, hey, Tom, like I must be doing something wrong. I'm not making any money. I'd have a conversation and it's like, bam, in a couple of weeks, all of a sudden it's like sales. And we're like, you feel so good. You really feel good about that. But anyways, I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. We're all the same. That success breeds success. And like Jake said, surround yourself with the best possible people. Work hard. And you're the one that has to kick yourself in the butt every single day because no one's going to do it for you.
I mean, we respect every single person. I can't count the friends I've made doing this job, years ago and into presence, how many people I've met that I absolutely 1,000% respect, that have built agencies with us, that I've even become their clients, and so on and so forth through the years. Business is a continuum. It's a wheel. The times change and people go from the bottom to the top. That's just how it works, right? It's something that revolves around. And when you guys are out there, not every day is going to be Christmas. Not every day is going to be, or your holiday. You're going to be happy with the results of it. But over time, hard work does pay out, right? It always does. Laziness also always hurts you given time. So when we look at this industry and you look at the landscape that's out there, understand adversity is something we all deal with. Like Tom said, we deal with it every day. It's how we respond to it that defines us. It's not the presence of adversity. It doesn't matter if you're Elon Musk or if you're the king of the world. You're always going to have adversity. You're always going to have problems and challenges. Problem solving is something that is at the core of entrepreneurship. Dealing with problems. And I mean, fighting fires and dealing with problems of a wide variety. And I think most of you already know that, but it's important to keep that in mind when you're talking about your business and you're talking about founding and building your agency. And our last slide here, and this is really a reiteration of what I went over before, so I'm not going to go too long on this, but, having a plan, getting your daily grind, and working towards building clients in a portfolio manner. Most of you guys have numerous clients. Many of you guys obtained who they were by sheer chance. You went out there and sold who you could at first. Have you taken the time to focus on strategic clients? Have you taken the time to upsell your existing clients? That's something that I mentioned, and I'd like to mention almost every phone call or every webinar that I conduct with you guys. And that is that, when it comes to your clients and the type of clients you're going after, it is so much more beneficial to, if you have, say, 50 clients, let's say those of you who have 50 plus clients, or even if it's 10 plus, that you should always focus on the monetization of the existing clients as opposed to landing new accounts. Because when you sell people initially, you might sell them a website, you might sell them a social media campaign, you may sell them one service, but not the other services. And going back, once you've established that trust and increasing the bonds between you and those clients and increasing their spends and getting them a bigger and better ROI as you add services to the lineup, that is the name of the game. If you've got, say, if you had 10 clients that had big SEO campaigns for you, how do you think that stacks up to, say, 20 site sales? Just as an example, right? If you sell 20 websites, if they're big sites, it's good and profitable, but over time, 10 SEO clients that stick with you, that are paying you, you're making $1,000+ a month every month on every single one of them. Having 10 of those stable, steady clients is much preferable in my mind to having a whole pile of, new business that I have to establish new relationships. Old relationships are stable and reliable. And I try to encourage everyone building an agency to really internalize that. And when you're out there and you're functioning as a salesperson or consultant, you keep that in the forefront of your mind, that the client I sell today that I make $5,000 on, I convert next month or the month after into an SEO client that I now make $12,000+ a year on, right? As time goes forward, we increase the spends, we gain trust, and we give them an ROI, and we focus upon giving them that ROI. This is not about pushing services on people blindly. This is about delivering value to your clients so that they increase voluntarily, of course, their spend with you. Your client should be calling you up and talking about how many leads they're getting through their websites, how much you've improve their reputation. They should be talking about all the benefits of working with you, because a properly applied service will do that. Every single time will give them an ROI given time. And that is your biggest asset at the end of the day. The value you deliver to your clients, it translates directly into a stable, growing, healthy business for you. So always put the client front and center, and always do the right thing, which is increase the sales of existing clients. Go and sell them more services. And with that, I think we're just about done here. Tom, do you have any final words?
No, I just really appreciate, like I always say every meeting, I appreciate all of you. And we're always here with open arms to help you guys out. You guys know that. And we're always taking it to the next level, always adding new services, new technology, a lot of new things coming down the road. We're building out a whole new partner portal for you guys, which is going to be totally amazing. Can't wait for that. It's in the works right now. So anyways, guys, thank you so much. Have a great, rest of your day. Some of you out in the West Coast, those of you that are on the East Coast here, have a great night and we'll talk to you guys, soon. Jake, thank you so much. Amazing presentation. You did a hell of a job as always. And we'll talk to you. Take care, everyone. Bye
Thank
bye.
you guys. Have a good evening.